Well, tomorrow's budget has to be a path out of a pandemic, and the best way to do that is to bring infrastructure spending forward. The best way to do that is to focus on service delivery to make sure that when people are moving here for opportunities, that we can protect the lifestyle of those who already call Queensland home and create job opportunities for those who want to live in the best part of the world. I'm concerned, though, that the one release we have had shows that infrastructure spending is being cut by $1 billion a year. That's $1 billion a year cut from their own numbers from December. So what we know is that revenue is up, we know that infrastructure spending is down, and what Queenslanders want to know is where's the money going? I'll ask David to say a few words.
So tomorrow's a big day for the Treasurer. We know that infrastructure has been cut. Friday afternoon, after 22 media releases, Olympics announcement, the Treasurer drops the $4 billion cut across the forwards in infrastructure spend. That's $1 billion less in infrastructure every year across the forwards. $1 billion in infrastructure supports 10,000 jobs. And that will mean 40,000 jobs over the next 4 years being exported out of Queensland to New South Wales. That's not the kind of vision that Queensland needs. And that infrastructure, schools, hospitals, roads, that's in corners right across Queensland. That is infrastructure that desperately needs to be built to support a growing population and the Olympic Games preparation as well. So far from the Treasurer, what we've seen is reheated, rebadged, relaunched announcements. Queenslanders need vision and they need confidence that the Treasurer is across the brief, and that's why tomorrow's budget is so very important. Can we take some questions? On Friday afternoon, after 22 releases through the day from the Labor government, after an Olympic Games announcement, the Treasurer released the figures. Just last December, it was $56 billion in infrastructure across the forwards, and now it's going to be $52 billion. In the December budget, we had a broken debt promise, and now we've got a broken infrastructure promise. It was a promise that lasted only 6 months since the last budget. We need infrastructure growth to support a growing population and the demands of service delivery. Let's never forget, the state government is the arm of service delivery in the country. It must be delivering the highest quality services, and we've seen time and again with health that they're not doing a good enough job, and that's why we need to see more out of this budget. So can you just repeat that?
Come this way. No.
Oh, looks right. Get the sun on. Thanks, mate. Go again, mate. What we know about the budget that's coming tomorrow, we know revenue is up, infrastructure is down. Where's all the money gone? The question for us that we need answered from the Treasurer is, in an environment where revenues are up and infrastructure spending is down, where is the money going? And that is why it's so important that the Treasurer front up tomorrow and deliver it. Because at the moment, there's not much vision on display from the Treasurer, and we're concerned that with revenue up, infrastructure spending down, and the deficit only down a little, where is that money gone? Just last December we had a budget, and in that budget it was talking about $56 billion in infrastructure. The money is there. It is a question of priorities. Where it is to be spent, that is the question for the Treasurer to announce tomorrow. At the moment, what we've got is a series of announcements, repackaged, reheated announcements for funds that are not going anywhere. The Treasurer has to set down a vision, make sure that infrastructure spending keeps pace, because we know $1 billion supports 10,000 jobs across Queensland, and at the moment, with the cut in infrastructure, those jobs are going interstate. What is that? Yeah.
Previously criticised the government for borrowing to pay for what you said every day.
Yeah.
Are you now saying that they should be borrowing to build
Oh,
this infrastructure?
I'm saying that in the case of 6 months, an infrastructure budget that was set has been changed, and I want to know why. And I think Queenslanders deserve to know why. It's not, but it's not. This isn't a case of revenue, so we know that the revenue's up. So we'll determine how much that is in the next 24 hours. But it's not as though they're cutting $4 billion because they've lost revenue. It's actually gone the other direction. So revenue's increased, and spending on infrastructure is decreasing. And so the question is, where is the money going? And that's the question that we will pursue. So my question is, why would you be taking $4 billion out of infrastructure at a time when you know that people are moving to Queensland? For a start, you want to create jobs for them because people are going to come here for lifestyle. Let's make the opportunity and create jobs for them. But we also have a responsibility for the people who live here at the moment, those current Queenslanders, to protect their lifestyle, to deliver housing opportunities so that their kids can get into the market. We owe it to them. We also owe it to them to be able to have a health system that functions, to have good law and order at the front line. They're things that we will stand shoulder to shoulder and ask the government to deliver. But when you say about the infrastructure, we would be willing to discuss with the government if the government said, well, look, we've had a massive hole in our revenue and that's why we're doing this. But that's not the case. Revenue's going one way, infrastructure spending's going the other, and I think it's a fair question to ask, where's the money going? I would be happy for the government to honour their commitment, and I would think the fact that revenue is increasing by many billions of dollars, I would suggest to you that they should be capable of honouring a commitment 6 months ago. This isn't a commitment 12 months ago, this is a commitment 6 months ago, and they've been dealt a pretty good hand in the last 6 months. So why? Why? Has the rating agency spoke to them? Have they realised that things are worse than what they're telling us? I don't know. But I'm asking the question. And the question I ask is, if revenue goes one way and your spending on the main focus, which should be infrastructure delivery, goes the other way, Queenslanders will want to ask where that money's going. Yeah. Well, I've been concerned for some time that we are losing pace on the vaccine race with other states, and it doesn't help when the Premier has mixed messages. So my message to Queenslanders is roll up your sleeve and do your bit for your state and do your bit for your family. That is the clearest thing I can say to try and get people to do their bit. Righto, thank you.